Feeling awkward? Same, bro. Why does life have to be so difficult? Why do I always think I'm gonna say the wrong thing, or do the wrong thing, or embarrass myself? It's not fun, is it? But I used to struggle with this so much more than I do now. And what I've realized is that feeling less awkward is a result of learning to endure the discomfort of awkwardness. And it's like any skill, it takes real practice. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to endure something that makes me feel awkward. Filming outside the house. Now I think that the root cause of awkwardness comes from a fear of embarrassment. So to alleviate our feelings of awkwardness, we have to feel less embarrassed. And I think to learn to be less embarrassed, we have to start embracing the things we are embarrassed about. Let me give you an example. Let's say you think your hair looks shit. Not an issue I've ever experienced. And you have to go to school or work despite your embarrassment around your dead trim. My advice would be to address what you feel embarrassed about publicly in a casual way, as this eases the awkwardness and it rids the feeling of thinking that someone is thinking about your dead trim and not saying anything. It could go something like this.
Oh, Joel, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, mate, I'm alright apart from this bad hair day situation. I should really get it sorted at a barber's, but
Oh, I've always thought your hair looked shit. You look kind of like Tarzan, but if he was homeless.
All jokes aside, if you personally address something that you're embarrassed about around the people around you, as long as it's in a casual manner, it will ease your awkwardness. You no longer fear that they could be thinking about the thing you're embarrassed about. You know that's what they're thinking about because you've brought it up openly. You've shown some vulnerability, some humility, some authenticity in just a small way by talking about something you're a little bit insecure about, and people will respect that. When I was younger, during my peak phase of awkwardness, my biggest problem is I really struggled to relate to other people. I felt like an outcast for a variety of reasons. I mean, having cerebral palsy obviously didn't help, thanks God. And due to this, I always tried to be someone that I wasn't. Laughing at jokes I didn't find funny, saying things I would later regret, and pretending that I wanted to live a life that in reality I didn't. However, the solution that I found was I had to try to stop being someone that I wasn't. And as difficult as being authentic is in the modern day, I really made an effort to say what I thought, do what I wanted to do, and live in alignment with my core values. It's really helped me to feel less awkward because I was living the life that I actually wanted to. I was finding out who Joel Clifton really was, rather than trying to live out a life that I thought other people thought Joel Clifton should live out. There's a quote that I've heard Chris Williamson say. He's the host of the podcast Modern Wisdom that I listen to quite a lot, and that is that someone else's head is a poor place to put your sense of self. Where in your life do you feel like you're playing a role, acting against who you really are? Sorry, but can we just appreciate how awkward I sound here? I remember there was like two guys sat in the sun, just chilling out behind the camera, and talking in front of the camera literally right next to them scared the shit out of me, right? You can hear it in my voice, you can see it in like where my eyes are moving. It's not good, is it? I'm not in a great way, and this just shows that what I'm saying in this video, I need to, and it's difficult, and it's just like the most challenging thing ever to get over social anxiety and awkwardness. So don't feel like it's going to be an easy change, and don't feel like, you know, you're not in the same boat as everyone else, because everyone struggles with this shit, even the guys that are preaching on YouTube about how to solve it. Anyway, continue with the video, Joel. Conforming to some kind of social expectation. Maybe it's your school environment, your workplace, your family, your romantic relationship. I would put money on the cause of the awkwardness that you've watched this video to solve is because in those situations, you're acting as someone you're not. I understand it's difficult to evolve into the person that we are because number one, we don't really know who we are. And number two, there's so much pressure to live out our lives as the world wants us to, rather than as we want to. But if you make a real effort over a long period of time to live in authenticity as who you actually are, your life will change. Making these videos is my way of constantly putting what I really think and what I really feel out there online to encourage authenticity. Otherwise, I know I could easily conform to be a normal 17-year-old boy. I also think that if you want to be less awkward, you should make yourself more competent. Learn some skills, get good at stuff. Because if you just go to work or school and then come home and play video games, watch Netflix, scroll on shitty like social medias, you are not going to have a very interesting life. And I don't mean to be rude, as this comes out of tough love, but you're probably not going to be a very interesting person. And therefore, when it comes to social situations, you're not going to have many interesting things to say, and that's maybe why you feel awkward around people. And all you're left with is like crappy small talk, like,
"Ooh, the weather's nice today," and "Ooh, I like your shoes and your hair," and
well, that, you know, bollocks. Which what we want is really deep, meaningful conversations about interesting people having interesting lives. So do some interesting hobbies. Get good at some cool stuff. I was so lucky that growing up, I had played wheelchair basketball, and I have done for like a decade. Because whenever I met people or saw people I knew, they always had something reasonably interesting to discuss with me, and I always had an icebreaker to talk to them and be like,
"Yeah, I play wheelchair basketball."
do you know what I mean? So try and find something like that in your life. And nowadays I enrich my experience with loads of these things. I play basketball, yes, but I make these videos, I go to the gym, I try and educate myself, think about interesting things, have deep conversations with people, rather than the small talk stuff that is kind of awkward and really unsatisfying. It can literally be anything. You can make art or music or poetry or do kung fu or make knitted clothing items. It literally doesn't matter. If you do cool shit in your life and have an interesting experience day to day, you will feel less awkward because you have more things to talk about. Self-improvement, personal development helps you in all levels of life. And if you want to start improving yourself, you can watch this video, which will give you my 4 favorite techniques in setting and working towards goals. I'll see you over there, but do not forget to be an anomaly.
Subscribe to Joel Clifton to join the movement.